It was a normal day in the life of a soldier until he heard a blood-curdling scream in the middle of the night. He and his comrades tried to convince themselves it was just a feral animal, but deep down, they all knew there was something sinister lurking around them. And over the next few weeks, this became more and more apparent. They had been stationed at an old fort that had seen its fair share of bloodshed during the war. Little did they know they were about to experience some terrifying paranormal activity themselves. These are the soldiers sent to the fort to investigate. Now, before we dive into this spine-chilling tale, let me ask you a favor. If you're enjoying this video, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Your support means a lot to us. Let's get right into the video. In the desolate plains of eastern Ukraine, there is a neglected fort that has borne silent witness to the horrors of war. Built in the mid-19th century, the imposing structure served as a strategic military outpost during times of conflict. Its thick stone walls have stood the test of time, enduring the passage of years and the ravages of battle. Today, the fort stands abandoned, a haunting reminder of the turbulent past that unfolded within its confines. The Ukrainian defenders were ordered to occupy the deserted fort when Russia invaded the country in February 2022. It was hoped that the fort could be used as a defensive position against Russian forces. However, no one expected what happened next. A group of Ukrainian defenders witnessed horrifying events that defied explanation, making it impossible to continue their mission. What exactly happened at the fort? Let's find out. A sergeant major in the Ukrainian army who asked to remain anonymous spoke to the Sun about his eerie experience at the fort. According to the sergeant, the soldiers were preparing to defend the fort when they heard chains dragging metal moans and screams. At first, they assumed it was a wild animal, but when they found no animal, they realized it was something supernatural. As darkness fell, the soldiers huddled together, listening intently. They heard heavy footsteps approaching the building. Their imaginations ran wild, conjuring images of skeletal warriors from the fort's past. Then they heard a blood-curdling scream. Someone or something was dragging a body across the floorboards, the sound echoing through the empty halls. Unable to bear the suspense any longer, the soldiers grabbed their guns and stepped outside. But when they shone their flashlights around, they saw nothing. The sergeant described it as a terrifying experience that left them shaken to their core. They couldn't shake off the feeling that they were being watched by unseen eyes. Sleep became a distant memory as they spent their nights huddled together, listening to the eerie sounds that echoed around them. Their dreams were filled with ghastly apparitions that seemed to emerge from the very walls of the fort. One of the soldiers even claimed to have seen the ghost of a young girl dressed in 19th century clothing. She appeared to him in the corner of his eye, her translucent form gliding through the barracks. He tried to focus his gaze on her, but she vanished before he could get a clear look. The soldiers were torn between their duty to defend the fort and their desperate need for rest. But as the days went by, they grew weaker and more disoriented, their minds and bodies drained by the constant tension. Then came the horrifying discovery. One of the soldiers found a diary hidden in the attic of the fort. As he read through the yellowed pages, he uncovered the story of a young Ukrainian soldier who had defended the fort against the Russians in 1854. The soldier had written of hearing chains, dragging moans and screams, just as they had experienced. He had also spoken of seeing ghostly figures wandering the halls at night. Could these ghostly encounters be the reason for their presence at the fort? Were they destined to relive the horrors of the past? Determined to uncover the truth, the soldiers delved deeper into the history of the fort. They learned that the fort had been the site of a massacre during the Crimean War. Hundreds of Russian prisoners of war had been executed by the British and French forces after being accused of spying. Their bodies had been buried in mass graves on the grounds of the fort. Could the restless spirits of these prisoners be haunting the soldiers? As the investigation continued, the soldiers began to experience even more terrifying phenomena. Strange symbols and messages were scrawled on the walls, seemingly by invisible hands. Objects moved and fell to the ground without warning, and disembodied voices whispered their names in the dead of night. The soldiers were trapped in a nightmare that seemed to have no end. And then there was the apparition of the young girl. She appeared to each of the soldiers in their moments of greatest fear. Her sad eyes and mournful presence, a constant reminder of the fort's dark past. Some dismissed her as a figment of their imagination, while others believed she was a spirit seeking their help to move on. As the situation grew increasingly dire, the soldiers made the difficult decision to abandon the fort. They packed their belongings and fled, leaving behind the haunting sounds and eerie sights that had become their constant companions. Once they were safely away from the fort, they looked back, never wanting to return. The fort stood silently, its dark secrets and ghostly inhabitants once again undisturbed. But the soldiers who had dared to enter its grounds were forever changed by their experience. They carried the haunting memories and chilling encounters with them, knowing that they had witnessed something truly paranormal. Some might say the soldiers were simply victims of a haunted fort, while others argue that the horrors they experienced were merely figments of their imagination. But one thing is certain: the soldiers who entered the derelict fort never emerged unscathed. Their encounter with the paranormal left them shaken to their core, forcing them to confront the darkest corners of their minds and the chilling mysteries that lie dormant within our world. If you enjoyed this video, you might be interested in watching another one. Just click on the link provided. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up and leave a comment below to share your thoughts. And if you haven't already, don't miss out. Subscribe to our channel so you won't miss any of our future uploads. Thanks for watching and see you soon.